Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. I hope you guys are doing well. So we got some wild sky phenomenon going on. So this is western Wisconsin on Saturday. Says scientists are baffled by these formations, almost like an upside down tornado. That's pretty cool. It's an interesting looking cloud for sure. As you see here, meteorologist talking about it. Not quite sure what caused this formation. We're seeing weird things in the sky in many ways, many things that are getting us to question things. I had mentioned the other day about watching this insane lightning show in Florida, and then we heard Florida Marquis was talking about this. Marquis, I should say. No R. The wildest lightning storm I've ever seen. And so the YouTube channel is called Rabbit Ran, and it is a wild lightning show. But when you get to 3:03 minutes in, 3:03, 3:04, there's what appears to be like a figure up in the clouds here, or perhaps even more than one figure up in the clouds. And Florida Maki had caught that, so I wanted to bring that to your attention in case you hadn't seen. Pretty cool, pretty interesting, and let's take a peek at this. As we blow it up and play with the color a little bit and the lighting, it almost looks like somebody, to me, I almost see somebody like a monk-like figure, dressed like a monk, almost like holding their hands together, as they're walking. And Cindy got the impression they're almost like walking through a doorway or something.
Yeah, it's really interesting too, because I try to zero in on it and see what they tell me about it, and I'm not getting a lot of information on it other than what I see, which speaks to it's like some sort of a cloaking thing.
Oh, could very well be. And that's what I thought when I looked at the actual video. Again, about 3:03, 3:04 in is when you see this strange figure. But when you check out some of the lightning in here, it's just intense and wild, and it's quiet. And it's just bizarre. And Cindy, you remember seeing something like that before out on the west?
Yes, it lasted about 15 minutes, and there was no thunder, and the cloud moved over the mountain, and there was just this silent lightning storm. Totally crazy.
So here we see yet another spectacular fireball exploding over northern Turkey. And, so this one happened on Wednesday evening, the 27th. The American Meteor Service received 3 reports, including a witness in Tbilisi, Georgia, saw this. So based on the AMS trajectory, the fireball traveled in a west to east direction from an area near the Surame town in Turkey to northwestern Azerbaijan. It was looking like an ordinary meteor, but then it began burning and became really bright, said one witness. The object was described as orange in color. Local media reported that the fireball was also seen in several provinces, including Artvin, Erzurum, Sivas, Tuncel, and Ardahan. Observers took to social media to share videos, and here you see how bright it is. There's videos for you guys to look at. I got all the links for you. Pretty cool object, and this is out of RT, and it's saying, was it a meteorite or was it a rocket? Armenia baffled by large celestial body, initially mistaken for fireworks. And again, more video. This is probably the same thing, but was it more than one? As we look at the area, it is in the same general area. A lot of weird things in the sky, guys. A lot of weird things in the sky. And so they say that the fiery meteor or comet that doomed the dinosaurs struck at the deadliest possible angle of 60 degrees coming in. And it's just coincidental that we seem to have so many things up in the sky, and here so many people believe we're in the end times, and we see everything from wars and rumors of wars, signs in the sky, locusts. We got it all going on right now. And, there's some places that have more things going on than others. But everywhere we look, we're seeing just amazing changes going on. And we got a dam failure in Wisconsin now. We had Michigan, 2 dams, and There was the threat over in Virginia. So much of the infrastructure in the United States is a joke. It's way too old. We still have so many things that really need to be shore up, and as I've said so many times, yet we're spending 800. We'll be spending $1 trillion on the military budget and spending like 1/1000th on infrastructure. It's just a back-assward situation we got going on. Severe flooding hits Nicaragua. Life-threatening flash floods expected across Central America into next week. And then if we look over here, over in Africa, floods killed 285, affects more than 800,000 in Kenya. And the crop loss may lead to food insecurity. Well, we've known this is an ongoing thing, and we've stressed the importance of it. And it does seem, honestly, like people are doing their gardens, are starting to grow their own things. It seems more and more, it's getting more and more mainstream. People are waking up. As we were saying, preppers and survivalists are becoming more and more the norm, instead of being looked at like, oh, you guys are crazy, you're kooks, nothing's ever going to happen. Well, there's a lot going on right now. Take your pick of what you want to prep for. There's a ton. And when we look at India is like ground zero for a lot of things going on right now. So they're in the middle of a 47 degrees Celsius heat wave, temps around 114, 115 degrees. They had a cyclone, global pandemic, of course, and the worst locust invasion in a long time, collapse coming. And, you could add to that the fact that China is massing troops, digging bunkers on the border right now. It's just all going down right now in India. As we see one thing after another, records falling with the heat. Here you see the locusts, run free. Can you imagine that?
No, I can't. That's terrible. That's got to be, they must be crawling in their ears.
Up their nose, in their ears, open up your mouth to take a gasp of air. They're going to be crawling down your throat.
It's going to be bad.
And it's all destroying crops and making the food situation worse. Which, my good friend David Devine's done such a good job talking about this for years now, and saying, China, as much or more than any other nation, understands the cycles that go on. And so you're going to have nations competing for food and competing for resources. And it looks like this is really the situation now. As you see, the sweltering heat, it's just all hitting at one time. Hurricane force winds and heavy rains wreak havoc, and this is in Russia, and left at least 3 people dead. And we've seen that. We've seen hurricane, cyclonic winds that just come in and on a regular storm without it being actually a named tropical system, just doing tremendous damage. The winds in some areas have been insane. But we've also talked about the fact that if you look at the Chan Thomas Adam and Eve story, when you're talking magnetic pole reversal perhaps leading to some crustal displacement, then in that book, which was basically classified by the CIA, they talk of over 300-mile-an-hour winds, perhaps going 3 times as high as that. And of course, there's very little structure-wise that's going to survive those things when we see this. And there's videos here as well. And talk about, all the places getting hit with the locust plague. You could add Iran to that as well. And the worst one in 50 years. Unprecedented. So, talking about the gardens. Well, 12 veggies that grow well in shady areas. It seems like all of us have different things to contend with. We have to make our areas more shady, of which, we're thankful that the tomato plants, the peppers, everything seems to be settling in pretty nice, even though we're having temps, up to 110. They're doing pretty well, so you have to adjust. Now, other areas, they're soggy, waterlogged, and haven't seen a sunny day in forever. So if you are more in that situation, here's some things that handle the shade well. Asparagus. And have you ever grown asparagus?
Yeah, you can grow it. Once you get it going for a couple of years, it'll grow for like 20 years in your yard. It's pretty easy.
Okay. So you've had some in the desert
Yeah,
before.
definitely. Yeah.
Okay, beans, and again, there's bush and there's the pole beans. And we have beets, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, of which we have been trying to grow some, but we found that lizards love the leaves of Brussels sprouts, kale, and Swiss chard. So they have been nibbling on our plants and keeping them from growing, and we've been trying different things. From spraying peppermint to, we heard, coffee grinds and cedar. We have cedar chips now out there, and
Yeah. Thank goodness they don't seem to like the tomatoes and peppers.
yeah, and then cabbage, carrots, cauliflower, celery, collard greens, cress, endive, kale, leeks, lettuce. But our lettuce did good in the full sun. It really did, and I know it does well in the shade too. Peas, radishes, spinach, Swiss chard, and turnips. Guys, I want to thank you so much for becoming Patreons. Those of you that support us over on Patreon and also on Ko-Fi, you guys keep us afloat and going. And thank you so much for your support, guys. Stay prepared. Be prepared for anything in these times. Things are definitely speeding up.
They certainly are. God bless and namaste.
Namaste, guys.